Now that we're past all the teasers on social media, we're finally here at the main event. Welcome to the very first episode of 3x Capital Debate Series. My name is Zara, and today, in the beige corner, we have Mohammed Zohaib, CEO and co-founder of 3x Capital. On my black corner, we have Andrea Chuck, one of the smartest consultants in the company. Mohammed Zohaib has chosen JVC, Jumeirah Village Circle, Dubai, as his topic of debate. JVC being one of the busiest communities in the new heart of the city. Andrea, on the other hand, has chosen Yas Island, Abu Dhabi, as a topic to defend. Yas Island is home to Formula One, theme parks, and waterfront communities. Question is simple. If an investor has money today to place, who wins? JVC or Yas Island? To keep it civil, we're gonna lay some ground rules, okay? Rule number 1, data only. Every claim that is made should have a source we should be able to track. Trust me, is not a source. Rule number 2, no weak versions. You're going to take on the strongest argument of your opponent and then beat it. Rule number 3, investor first. Every data, every point should tie back to what an investor actually faces, experiences, gains, or loses. Right? We're gonna start with the opening statements. Each of you get 3 minutes to state your case and no interruptions. JVC will go first.
Oh, I'm going first?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna move from here.
So, guys, every year in Dubai real estate, you'll find at least 30 to 40% people who actually make money. There's a rare 10 to 15% who make about 100% return on equity, right? And you find a lot of people who say that I've been cheated, I've been tricked, I've lost money. I think one of the major reasons people lose money is because of identity crisis. So today's debate is not just about JVC versus Yas Island. It's about identity crisis for both the consultant and the location. We're talking about, so if you've seen my previous video where I've categorized communities into economy, business, first class. And you know where people majorly lose money? In premium economy. Because premium economy poses like business, but it's not business. I am dealing with a community that's extremely clear. I'm economy. I represent 70% of the market segment, which is the most powerful market segment. I'm dealing with a community that is very confused and is dealing with an identity crisis. It's economy posed as business, and I have enough data to prove it. So that's my case. Now I shall Andrea on stage.
So should I go a little bit more technical? My approach is a little bit different. So it's going in the way that actually I'm working with my clients and I'm doing management portfolio for years, not only for myself, but for my clients, not only in real estate, but in different aspects. And I'm actually specialized in company operation, reorganization, etc. So my flux is a little bit different. I'm following money. Money is water and you chase money to make money. I'm following whatever the government is doing as a strategy, not whatever they have done 10 years ago, whatever they want to do 5, 10, 20 years from now, because I know from sure, wherever they put money, they're gonna start to make money. Other announcement, and they're gonna start to make more money actually when they're gonna start to deliver that. I'm following that because I understood something. I know people with money follow people with money, and I know government, mostly whatever you have in this country, because we have proved that UAE is doing a lot of things, and also it's a free zone area or it's a tax-free area, right? I saw how family offices are actually chasing those money. And I know for sure when identity, when a location, when a developer magnets capital from outside and magnets to bring those kind of institutional money, most of the times those kind of communities, they don't go on distress. Now I saw something else. I've been working for big developers. I've been working for small developers. I've been working for developers who have an amazing quality. And I did also something else. I moved to Dubai from JVC to Maidan, and I have decided to stay in a community when I put my money on the table, because I know for sure, better than any other agent in the city, how developers are tracking projects, what's the logic behind the project. And I understood actually how agents are pitching and how end users are choosing at the end of the day. Now, why Yas Island intrigued me? Intrigued me because if we speak about 1.3 trillion in Dubai funds, we speak about a little bit more money in Abu Dhabi, it's 1.7, and we know for sure that actually Abu Dhabi is behind whatever Dubai have done, because most of the money is coming there. If I open subjects like OPEC and I explain actually how much money Dubai printed only this month just by exiting OPEC and making a little bit more money out of that, which is actually $1.8 billion. Why I'm saying this? Because all this money is actually behind whatever they are doing in Yas Island. You have an entity called Miral. Miral is not a foreign fund, it's actually the execution whatever those guys are doing. Basically, whatever you see right now so far in that area is being sponsored or is being supported financially by the petrol economy, which, fortunate or unfortunate, basically doesn't exist in Dubai.
So that was it for the opening statements. Now we're gonna go with round one. Show me the money. Question is, how much rent does an investor actually earn here in each of the communities that they've chosen? And what does the income look like over time? We'll talk numbers.
Income?
Yeah.
I think my opponent is very confused over here. She's talking more of Abu Dhabi than Yas Island, but it's okay. So let's talk numbers again, right? I'm not even going to talk about big or premium developers, let's say Ellington or Iman or Zaya. Let's take one of the largest segment in JVC, Bingati, okay? So Bingati had a building called Phantom. So they launched in September 2024 a product at around 1 million. In June 26, during this conflict, so I use this conflict as a very bulletproof segment or period where you can really stress test products, okay? So again, DLD transaction, 1.6 million it sold for, okay? I'm not going to take into account 50-50 payment plan. If I take that, my opponent would cry. But I'm saying about the product when it's ready, we're looking at close to a 51% increase. If I look at a one-bed rental, currently it's rented at 105,000 dirhams a year. If I look at a two-bedroom in Bingati Phantom, and all this is based on DLD, it's going at 185,000 dirhams per annum. Now, another very interesting fact about what is the biggest factor that determines whether an investor can make money or will lose money. The biggest factor, without the fluff. I mean, today, some will talk about Yas. Today, come again talk about OPEC. Tomorrow, some will talk about Win Casino. Every day, someone's going to talk about something. But you know what is the only legitimate factor? Demand. And how do you assess demand? By resale transactions on profit. That's the only factor by which you can understand the power of a segment. 5,976 transactions in 2025 alone. That's in JVC alone. Do you know what's the number of transactions in Yas? 655 resale transactions. Now, based on stats in Abu Dhabi, we are looking at an average. So the average gross rental yield in JVC is 8.76%. The average, again, according to stats in Yas Island, the average rental is 4.8% ROI. Now, There is no, you know why there's no resale transaction in Yas? Because 90% of the residential community in Yas Island is off plan. 90% is off plan. Now, if you've again observed my videos, there was a time I took a step back from Dubai Creek Harbor. You know why? Because I kept saying, look, there are 500 buildings coming over there, let's assess. There's a reason I took a step back from Palm Jebel Ali. Again, so yes, Andrea's one statement I agree on. It may take 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Let's take 20 as an example. She said it, not me. So question is, do you want to make money in 2 years or do you want to make money in 20 years? Then, I'm going to say something very interesting. Or should I leave it for the next segment? How much time do I have left? Have more time? Interesting fact, okay? The current median price in Yas Island of a resale transaction, average median price of a resale transaction is 1,972.80. So the average median price of a resale transaction in Yas is 1,972. And currently, Aldar, very ambitious as it is trying to transact, trying to hit that 3,000 and plus price per square foot. They're trying to get at that stage. Isn't that a radar? Another very interesting fact, okay? Last year, I'm just saving some time for my opponent here. Last year in Yas Island, we saw an increase in rent of 22.7%. Now, if there's any sensible consultant out here, do you think that's a positive or a negative? If the rents have increased by 22.7%, is that a red flag? Because when rents increase beyond a certain point, that's when you're hitting a slab. Next. Have time? Okay. Next very interesting fact is that, the schools, okay, now, Abu Dhabi market, just to educate people, okay? There are three main segments. I'll categorize into three segments. There's Reem Island, okay? Reem Island is your mass market, okay? So largest number of secondary transactions happen in Reem Island. Then you have Yas Island, okay? As you've seen, 650 transactions. Then your most powerful factor is Saadiyat Island. Now, Saadiyat Island is your premium. Now, how do you define a premium community? Now, Saadiyat Island is somewhere between business and first class, okay? Yas, my poor thing is confused. So, if you are a family, okay, or let's say you are an investor family, let's say, okay, what is the first thing you're going to look at? Are you going to look for Disney World or are you going to look for a school? You're going to look for a school. You're going to look for your office place. You know how many schools are there in Yas Island? There are 3 schools, okay? And you know what the school fees in Yas Island is just for a child? It's between 35 to 60,000 per annum. And you know what the school fees in Saadiyat Island is? The school fees in Saadiyat Island is between 75 to 105,000. These are factors by which you can determine whether a community is mid-premium or premium. So this is affordable, it's beautiful. But you cannot put, again, I think the biggest risk for any investor already, A, 90% off plan. B, you are in an affordable segment and you're trying to pose as business. I think that's the biggest risk for investors. Rest we can continue in the next round.
Now, first, I'm not chasing Yas because it has a 20 years plan. I'm chasing strategies that have a government back, budget approved by 10 to 20 years. Yas is not 90% of plan. Yas is the most entertainment island in the world. Yas is actually, Dubai is also the same. But Yas is targeting half million qualified people for Disneyland. And this is actually what Bob Iger have said. And UAE is going 8 hours to 80% of the population. That's the reason that Disneyland is choosing UAE, but Disneyland opened a conversation in 2009 with Dubai, and they choose in 2026 Abu Dhabi. and I don't have to explain why, but actually Miral have give the best offer that they have done forever for Disneyland, whatever the Disney management is saying. Yas Island has a completely different strategy. It's not a residential bet. This is an entertainment bet, and this is coming to actually entertain families. And they have seen something else. I consider myself the first generation in UAE, Dubai, and I will tell you why. Because Dubai have started to grow in the 90s, and actually the people who have moved here after 90s and 2000 and 2000 something, well, how I moved 4 years ago, it was just to make a better life, have a salary for 1-2 years, and then they're gonna go back home. But surprise, they fell in love with the city, and now they either got married here or they have decided to bring their families. Reason why we can see actually a movement from an apartment or a studio 1 bedroom to a high profit townhouse in the city, where we are pitching to our clients that actually townhouses and villas are 17% and it's a gap. Yeah, because actually the structure of the family and the structure of me as an individual have changed. And me that has a salary of 15,000, which actually my friends have 30 to 50, but maybe they are exceptional. My having a small salary myself, I'm doubling my salary just because I'm getting a partner. Okay, so that allows me to do something else. Now, once I see those kind of communities, I have started myself with JVC. I moved from 2 places in JVC, and that's my transitional place. Why? It's affordable. It's easy to get on 12 friends. It's easy to get on monthly, but I don't decide to stay there. When I have invested my money, I went somewhere where actually families are going. Why Yas Island has only few transactions? Because that's a family community, and families don't move. Now, I have something else. I identify my tenant of today, and I identify my tenant in the future. And I do have a very good anchor over there. Let's say Disneyland, and yeah, it's confirmed because the chief operational of Disneyland have confirmed even this year in April that they are going through despite whatever is happening here. Disneyland have confirmed they need 14,000 employees just to operate as a Disney employee. Those 14,000 employees all the time, they're gonna impact the market by 2.7. It's a 1.7 multiplicator plus those numbers. We are going up to 45,000. You don't have to believe me on that. You have to go and read the reports for other 6 Disneylands that actually those guys have done in the world. Now, the difference between whatever have happened in the others, all the time in Disneyland, by the way, Disneyland is not in Tokyo. Disneyland is not in Orlando, and Disneyland is not in Paris. If you ever been there, Disneyland is 1 hour away from those sites. I've been myself 3 times in Paris, and it's in a city that they call Val-la-Marne, and it's a city that they have created from zero, and they have reached 30,000 people that right now they're working exclusive in Disney, and they have made the system actually to work. This business has a 70 years track of 6 different locations, opened in completely different momentum of the history, and they never have failed. Now, those 45,000 employees, they're gonna go, and most of the time they're gonna stay inside Yas. Why I'm saying that? Whoever is coming as a 14,000 jobs, and Disney decides to keep them in-house because they are important, they may actually even come on something that we call the relocation package. Those guys on relocation package, they are completely different than the guy that's renting from you a studio or a 1 bedroom, because the company will try to give them one of the best things. Now, why I'm choosing Yas Inside? I will choose a developer like Aldar, which is one of the biggest ones, and they are getting control on everything that's happening in Yas, and those guys then tend to go in a bigger sizes. A bigger size by 2,000 dirham per square foot. This is what they have sold in the last project for apartments. 2,000 dirham per square foot for a 2-bedroom of 1,500, it's actually a 3 million. It's very decent. But if I move you a little bit outside Yas, you can get the same typology of a 2-bedroom in 2.5 million. Yeah, it's a 1,500 dirham per square foot. The price per square foot gonna go high, but the 2 beds, it's a 2 beds. Now, why I'm saying that? Because besides the employees that you have, which I think they will tend to go on the biggest units inside Yas, you also have the tourists. Now, I will compare with something. Orlando becomes the #1 destination in the world by praising 50 million last year, 50 million tourists last year. Yas Island has 2024 38 million. Officially should have come in May. The number is not there confirmed. They should have got around 45 million last year. And by 2030, and I think no one gonna challenge me, I have the same number of 50 million that are going to Yas, despite this island or not, because this is something that I can bet right now. Now, something interesting that I have seen. I will compare with Orlando because we have the same number of tourists. Orlando has 130,000 hotel keys. Hotel keys means number of rooms. Yas Island right now today have 3,200 and another 1,000 under construction. Now, do you understand actually why people are having so small transactions on that area? Because this is not the kind of unit that you're gonna sell. This is the kind of unit that you go and refinance even if you're an international client, because the kind of rents over here are gonna skyrocket. Number of hotels in JVC, you have 3. Only 3 of them. In Yas Island...
Andrea, we're running out of time and you have to talk about the rent, the income, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
In Yas, those guys in JVC, they are going in around 700 dirham per square foot. Then I'm going in Yas in around 1,000. Now the difference is actually, Yas have seen prices of 50K per night going up to 35 per night just because of an event of FY. So actually, I don't need Disneyland in this area to prove my numbers, because those kind of properties they run exceptionally well. Hotels in Yas in August last year, 85% occupancy. Hotels in Yas overall the year, 95% occupancy. I have gave you the gap that actually it's happening with the number of keys in Orlando. Now, you can bet on those guys that are going to rent in Yas Island, and I will suggest you something from Aldar because they have very big sizes. I can suggest you also something in Fahid Island. You're gonna get the best views on Disneyland if you actually believe in that engine. But my bet over here, it's something that most of the communities will promise, and I'm pretty sure most of the agents have promised you a 10%.
Time's up. That was for round 1. The contenders became a little slippery and went off topic, so we'll try. Round 2 is capital growth. Each of you will get 8 minutes, and we're going to talk about how the prices have actually grown in those areas, how much new supply is coming, and how easy is it to liquidate or sell in those communities, okay? You can now challenge each other's numbers. 8 minutes each, okay?
I think I've already given DLD-based data on how the prices can increase, but I'll just repeat it. This is DLD master data, okay? I have this from DLD. If I take Belgravia, this is very interesting, okay? So if I take Belgravia by Ellington and JVC, the first sale took place in February 2020 at 1.68 million. This same product sold in 2023 at 1.95 million. That's plus 16% in 3 years. And the same product sold again June 2026 in this conflict period at 2.42 million. Okay. Then a 1-bedroom in JVC, again, same building, sold in June 2026 at 1.5 million. This proves that there is a market who's willing to pay those kind of values. I've already explained the Bengati example, so I'm not going to get back into that because I've got some very interesting things to discuss on what she discussed. First of all, you know what's the difference between Disney California, Disney Florida, Disney Paris, and Abu Dhabi Disney? Do you guys know what's the difference? The difference is that in Disney California, in Disney Florida, and Disney Paris, the ownership and operations is by Disney. But in Abu Dhabi, it's by Miral. Maybe that might not be great for Disney fans, but I've got an even better because we're about maths and numbers, so I'm going to give you something very interesting, okay? So one, I think Andrea herself diverted from Yas, started going towards Fahid, started going outside Yas, a little bit, but that's fine, okay? But she did mention a point that one of her friends had a salary of 15,000, okay? Now, the average salary is actually slightly less than 15,000, but that's okay. So if somebody with a salary of 15,000, let's say annually makes around 180,000 dirhams, okay? Now, the objective is that in a location, the rents should not increase 30% of gross income, okay? So if I look at 30% of this, we're looking at around 54,000, okay, dirhams. And that's precisely why now if I even take, okay, a highly paid employee, 30,000 dirhams, okay? His 30%, his affordability for rent is around 108,000 dirhams. Now, if you look at the value of something in Yas Island, a 2-bedroom is impossible for a family to afford technically then, okay? And that is why we look at options like I told you, Reem Island, Khalifa City, which is the educational hub of Abu Dhabi. It's called Khalifa City. It's not Yas Island. Again, I yet again reiterate, when a family moves into any community, they look for schools, they look for offices, and that actually supports my JVC argument. You know why I see now JVC has a couple of contenders around it. Big contenders like Dubai Hills, smaller contenders like Motor City, IMPZ, Sports City. Why has JVC already succeeded? Like 5,976 resale transactions shows resilience. Now, as an investor, would you want to invest with somebody who bets on the future? Or do you want to invest in a product that has actual numbers? So I've already proven my case in capital appreciation. Okay, now let's say off-plan transactions. Oh, something else, very interesting factor, okay? Now, I'm a big Avengers fan. I like Marvel a lot, Like if somebody asked me, am I a big fan of Mickey Mouse or Iron Man? I'd probably choose Iron Man, and probably most of the people over here would choose Iron Man. Do you know what's the impact that IMG World with Marvel created in Dubai real estate? Zero. There's no impact of IMG World in Dubai land. You know what's the ticket price of a Ferrari World? Okay, so Miral created Ferrari World, Sea World, some other worlds. An average ticket price is 345 dirhams. 345 dirhams for the entire day. That. It's great. I would go there, I would go there. But would that make people spend 3 million dirhams? There's a bit of a gap between 345 dirhams and 3 million dirhams, So, yes, it is an entertainment island. I agree. But is it for investors? I don't think it's so if I think my case is proven over here, right? If I have 1 million dirhams, are you going to bet it or are you going to invest it?
Number of supply and how easy is it?
Supply. Okay, now if we look at supply, I think in the next 4 years, in phases, I've got about 16,000 units coming up in JVC. But, so if I've got, again, if there's increased supply, okay, I'm not asking you to go invest in one of the products that are overpriced. I'm saying that, okay, if you have 1 million dirhams, you can find a good product. See, if my rental value, okay, if my resale transactions are 1.6 million, we have already proved that in the stress test market. If my 1-bed can get me 105,000 dirhams, if my 2-bed can get me 185,000 dirhams, wouldn't I buy a 2-bed at around 1.2 million or a 1-bed at around 900,000 and achieve these numbers? Why would I go ahead and place it on a bet? And okay, about supply again, the anticipated supply of Yas Island is around, again, very, very interesting point. Current number of short-term rentals in Abu Dhabi is 4,479 units, okay? It's the number of short-term lettings now in Abu Dhabi. The occupancy is 51%, because she did prove my point. Where, yes, when you have the GP, like Formula One and stuff, maybe they go. But again, can you place on those 1 or 2 days your entire investment theory based on 2 or 3 days in a month? 51% is the occupancy. Now, yes, the hotels have a 90% occupancy. And I completely agree. That's my theory. Unless if you want to invest in Disney itself or Disney World and, that's you could buy stocks of Disney. But would you buy apartments around Disney? So it's like, yes, the hotels will have great occupancy and Airbnb may not, because as of now, the numbers is 51% occupancy. So I think, any other moderator? Have I covered all my points? I covered supply, I covered appreciation. Anything else you want to cover?
Liquidity.
Liquidity, I've proven my liquidity, right? Thank you.
You know what's the best thing? That you don't show all the reports at the beginning, you just let people speak. How many Disney you have around the world? 6 without Disneyland. You have Orlando, you have actually 2 in US. You have one in Paris, which is not Paris. You have one in Shanghai, which is not Shanghai, and you have one in Tokyo, which is not Tokyo. Those 6 actually have proved that Disney will not go wrong, and they have proved they can build ecosystem 1 hour away from the main city. They have proved they can save a big city as Orlando that has no other industry than Disney right now. And they have proved they can create from 0 cities like Val-la-Marne next to Paris. I've been myself 3 times to Paris. I never stay next to Disneyland because they never have hotels and they never have holidays home. And I had to go by train 1 hour to Paris. That's my experience. Then another thing, if you go a little bit deeper into the reports, you're gonna see that the latest Disney, Tokyo, is the first story when they are doing with the government back fund. It's fully royalty. It's actually have proof they have 90% recurrent client, and they have proof is the most profitable Disney in the world. Just because they work with the government, they go with the master plan. Now, that's one thing. Now let me tell you my experience, and let me tell you the people I know who live in Yas and the people I know who live in JVC. Myself, I moved to the city 4 years ago. I chose JVC. I moved to JVC, and if you ask any of my friends, they will tell you the story. With 2,000 euro, in 3 months, I moved from a place to another. I moved to 2 places. Actually, the third month, I moved to Azizi because I don't have money. That's me. One of my good friends, he stayed 10 years in Dhabi. He has a lot of properties in JVC. During this period, one of his properties in JVC got vacant. The other one, it went to court. Why? JVC has a very big power because JVC is getting people with no money and JVC is getting people with small salaries. So most of the time, JVC has a 1% payment plan. Why? Right now, you have 61 developers that are beating each other. And I'm coming from a developer, and I did also small developers. And I know most of the times, those kind of locations are small developers. They don't have the capacity to sell, period, because of XYZ reasons. They are putting a 1% payment plan. You have 61 developers that are bidding on that, and they are doing what as a result? 12 checks. You will never see that in a very good community. 12 checks means I'm going in a contract of 12 checks. If you don't pay 6 of them, I'm not allowed to kick you out. You have to go to court. And my friend actually is one of this situation. The other apartment, it was vacant since March, and he have rented last week, I think in a 4,000 dirham per month, something like that. It's a 1 bedroom. Now on the other side, my friends, and actually she's my best friend, Romanians, not American passport. She's on 50K salary. He's, I think, on 28 salary. I will not ask those kind of questions. They have a kid. Their kid actually, the school for their kid is being paid by their company. They have bought, in November last year, 2.5 million Water's Edge in Yas Island. That's the capacity, and that's the people that I know, and that's the people that I see when I'm going to those kind of places. I'm not trying to make an obvious case about what Yas Island means in terms of supply and demand. It's your choice, it's your capital, it's your money. But the transactions are not going there because you don't have to exit the market. Because the capital is stable, and whatever F1 is producing in 1-2 weeks, it's actually enough to make it cover the whole year. A good apartment of 2 bedrooms with the right view on the circuit in Yas have produced between 30 to 50,000 in the 4 days of the circuit. Now something else, Yas Island has the chance to host one of the biggest names in the world, because everything I'm telling you also have, besides the F1, maybe not everyone is going to attend the F1, but you have Etihad Arena. where you're gonna see names like Jennifer Lopez, Eminem, and very big names. And if you go on Google and tag all those big names, you're gonna see them in Yas Island. Now, my question is, who do you want to be your neighbor? Because if you want the 1.5 million, which is the similar price of JVC, it's actually something that you can take also in Yas. But I'm giving you an anchor, and I'm giving you on a plane that's coming. The main difference between JVC and Yas, even though, by the way, they have started in the same time, 2006, they have started to deliver 2009, 2010. We are speaking about the same maturity. We speak about completely different kind of clients, and we speak about a master plan versus a master plan but a chaotic plan. Myself, why I'm choosing a master developer in the same price, and I'm going with JVC or Arjan. JVC has a hype, Arjan has a very good connectivity. I learned a lot of things in developers. You have JVC. Should I take the Nakheel? It's the community that actually I choose, and most of you know that because we did a video in my place. What's the difference between that? JVC has a developer. Nakheel, it's a master developer. Their business is, I keep the best plots for myself and I sell whatever to whoever wants to pay. That means all those plots over here, they're being sold as a plots. But you have a main problem. You have the road between those plots, which belongs to no one. Damak have bought 45 million square feet and everything that's inside, including the rooms, they belong to them. Why I choose this? Because they had the floats. And when I had the floats,
Andrea,
I was actually
going off topic again. The Nakheel is not relevant. And we're
I'm proving something, which what I know on what actually needs the community.
Okay, just keep in mind, the three things that you have to.
The Nakheel had actually no problem in terms of getting the float, pumping the water. Why? Because the master developer has the power to actually go on the spot. JVC and other communities, they had the road between them. You have to wait for the master developer to assist you, or you have to wait for the municipality. Yas Island is a master development done by Aldar. So far, you don't have private constructions in Yas Island. I know some plots and I know some developers, they are trying to do a JV over there, but so far you don't have that. You do have master developers that are going outside Yas and they sell it as Yas. It's good convenience, you can believe in that, but if you want to stay only in Yas, we have actually a master developer that's coming with the full control of the master plan that has schools, hotels, and the most entertainment island on earth. And I'm telling you, the neighbor of my friends have the same kind of caliber of that, because money chase money or money attract money. I'm not giving you something where actually, you know what? You choose who you want to be your neighbor. Now I'm going on the other side. Supply and demand. We are speaking on a master plan, more or less 8,500 units, which is ready right now. And you have another 10,000 that's gonna be built in the
Time's up, Andrea. All right, so we spoke about capital growth, liquidity, these number of supply coming in the areas. The round three is going to be about who actually buys in these communities. Okay, you're going to talk about what budget, what goal, and how do they exit. So it's going to be real investor stories, no theories, please. Okay.
Okay, so the cap 917 billion is what sold last year in Dubai. Okay, of this, 70% transactions are under 2 million. Okay, your biggest segment is your middle class people who have an affordability of under 2 million. So who are the people? So I've explained in multiple videos where every investment should have a dual exit strategy. Means you cannot base your investment based on just one tool, Airbnb, long-term leasing. Your ideal goal is you enter as an investor. You have the option to both Airbnb, long-term rental, and sell it to an end user. This is your objective as an investor. Now, JVC does provide that. If I have to do, yet again, okay, let's take the example that I've given, Benghazi Phantom, okay? So Benghazi Phantom, I buy it at around 1 million dirhams because Benghazi is one of the major suppliers in JVC. So I buy a one bed at 1 million dirhams. I can enjoy a rental value of around 105,000 dirhams gross, but the service charges are quite low, so I still make around 10% ROI. I can do this for maybe 3 years, and I'll exit at around 1.5 to 1.6 million. It's a very simple case study. So because, see, a lot of people across the world, they just want stable ROI. Let's say, who are the biggest investors in the region? Okay, the biggest investors in Dubai real estate are Indians, in fact. So they form around 50 to 60% of the segment. Now, the almost immediate investor sentiment is to buy something that achieves 8 to 10% ROI. So JVC provides that. And they want liquidity. Now, that I've given that number as well. See, 5,976 people. Let's put it this way. 5,976 millionaires versus Andrea. Okay. Let's put it, and this is only in 2025. They all can't be wrong, right? They all had a perspective, right? I mean, if you are a millionaire, you have some basic intelligence or common sense at least. So you can't go wrong that way. So they are my buyers, you know. These are the people. So you've got few categories over here. So JVC has over 30 landscape parks. So you're in the hub. So if you understand the map of Dubai, your major school hub is your Sukim and Hessa Street. There is another academic city also has, but the major school hub is Sukim. And so what does JVC do as a location? It gives you access to, on a 15-minute radius, you've got some of the best schools. On a 20-minute radius, you've got access to your workplace, which could be internet city, media city, and that is exactly why it's such a resilient community. The numbers don't lie. It's an extremely resilient community. So especially for a first-time buyer who doesn't want to bet, you know, he just wants a stable 8 to 10% ROI. He's the one who, me along with the 5,976 millionaires are the examples of people who enter a market like JVC. There's another market for JVC. Let's say you're centimillionaires or you're above a certain bracket, okay? Your UHNIs, above $10 million. They get into JVs. They buy plots and start developing to make, again, a serious amount of money. But currently, of course, JVC does not have any plots. 85% is sold out. 85% is sold out. That itself shows, again, very strong resilience. So people who want to own half a floor, half a building, these people have also entered JVC. Currently, I'm in negotiation with a billionaire who is looking to buy an entire building. So I've already explained the kind of investors I have. Now, see, I don't want to get into storytelling. Like if I say that, okay, at the time of JITEX, for those 2 days, JVC went to 50,000 dirhams, you know, I can say it, you know, but we are talking about numbers over here. So I think, have I covered all the points, moderator?
Yeah, budget goal and how to exit. Have you mentioned all levels of budget they can enter?
See, I think the safest, there are multiple budgets, but me as a consultant, I want to tap into the 70% segment, right? So the 70% segment, anyone who has under 2 million dirhams, it's a very safe place to enter, you know? But of course, you need a very strong consultant to understand which product to enter. Someone who has no identity crisis.
You know what? At the end of the day, it's your money. You decide wherever you want to go, and we can sell whatever you want to have at the end of the day. I'm giving you an option that has an anchor in terms of the number of employees coming over there, and I'm giving you an option that has also a very good potential for the tourists, because most of the time we want to do the best of our pockets. Is the best deal in the world? I'm not sure, but myself over there, I would invest there. I lived in JVC, and I'm telling you, no one in our office lives in JVC. Why? You go and understand why on the market, and we can speak thousands of hours like this about this. Now, JVC is a master plan that's getting completed. As Zohaib said, yeah, it's 81% already transaction. For me, as a developer terminology, I call those kind of master plans consumed. It's a master plan that's being transaction in different price, losing money, making money. Mostly people have made money in JVC, but that was the hype. And whoever is looking or whoever have investment in JVC, that was the hype of even before I was actually moving over here. Now, I'm choosing Abu Dhabi because I think whatever you have right now in a similar budget, by the way, you go yourself, you don't have to trust on our whatever we are saying as a report. You go yourself and check exactly the prices you have in Yas, you have in JVC right now, and more or less in the city. Why I'm choosing Abu Dhabi? First, maybe it's important or not, you have a 2% registration fee instead of 4%. For some people, that's gonna make a difference. But for me, it's actually a new era of free zone, freehold. Dubai have starting in 2002 the freehold history. That's the reason, and that's the moment where actually you see a lot of developers trying to go on the market. Yas Island Abu Dhabi starts in 2019, and most of the properties over there, they are not freehold. As a consultant, that I see it as an opportunity. I'm giving you the chance to go in a very dynamic island, and I think I have covered who's actually the client of Yas Island. I have mentioned you what kind of friends I have, and I know what kind of neighbors they have, and I'm telling you, when I started with 2,000 in my pocket, I actually started in JVC. I may be wrong or I may be right. But for me, the master plan of JVC, it's actually a trend that you have lost. And that number, trust me for sure, will not make you again the double of the number. Why? Every single transaction has a cap. Whatever you have bought in 1 million, JVC right now is not selling in 1 million of plan anymore. Go wherever you want, unless if you are getting a 20 to 30% discount on a transaction full cash, which I never recommend it, and everything is going on 1% and everything is going on 12 checks, as I told you, you don't get good deals in JVC anymore. And if you do that, remember actually Bugatti have started to sell decent buildings in $500,000, and the latest building they are selling right now, or they sold, it was actually above 1 million or even 1 million. That means you're buying your property in 1 million. The other one buys the property in $500,000. Of course, it's a matter of design, and that's going to reflect into the prices. But this guy selling in 700, he's making money. You may have to sell on distress. Let's take only your building. You have bought in 1 million. I'm sorry, that's transaction. You go right now to Bugatti, they don't have it anymore. If you enter in that building to prove the point that everyone is making appreciation and the building have made appreciation, it means you are buying in appreciated price. Buying in appreciated price, if tomorrow you want to go on the market, I'm sorry, but you never bought in 1 million and you bought in 1.5 million. So, I have a 2% registration fee over there. I have options that are going in different prices. And the latest master plan that was actually decent, well priced, it was 1.5 million. But I have a very coherent payment plan. Payment plans actually attract people that have a very good power of holding. The biggest buyer of Yas Island is a family office, an institutional investment. Probably you heard about the last townhouses, 272 units from Aldar. I'm pretty sure none of you have got any of them because they had 150 checks, and I hope they will not ban me that they are VIP clients. Those kind of master plans, they go with dedications to the big investors in the world, and I love that. And most of the time in those master plans, actually I cannot even manage to get a unit. But if I manage to get a unit, I have the best neighbor in the world, because by neighbors, they don't go in distress. You know what people with money do? They use banks' money, they refinance, they go on mortgages, and then they reinvest again the market. If a family office goes somewhere, they will never sell below 10 years, because a family office has people like me and more people like me that are going on 5 to 10 years analysis and scenarios and developers negotiations in order to take a decision. It's a good deal or a bad deal? I'm not sure. But it's a deal that has a very strong anchor on the market. When Disneyland have come, and they call it Disneyland effect, take it as a MAC index. Disneyland effects is two things. The price is gonna spike at the announcement, and the price is gonna spike on the handover. The announcement got last year, and Yas is seeing an appreciation on a ready property, 18%. I'm sorry, but if you're buying something right now in JVC in 1.5, that's the appreciated price of Zohaib, I'm pretty sure you don't sell it in 18% appreciation next year, because it's impossible in structure. You may be lucky, or we may be strong enough to give you that kind of exit. It's possible. I cannot promise you something that I cannot apply at least to 80% of my clients. So, you go back and forth. It's something that I'm gonna say against me, but it's true that Yas has a slower transaction process, probably because the roles are a little bit also different. But if in Dubai we speak about 30 days exit, in Yas Island, we should look at 60-day exit. However, it's a market that's completely regulated. It's a market that has a very strong database of agents. It's a market when people are not doing hanky-panky, and it's a market where you're not allowed to go as an agent if you're not authorized. So that gives a lot of credibility, and all the time when you're going to enter on any market to do a transaction, you're going to have a very clear one. I'm not based in Abu Dhabi, and it may take me 1 hour to go over there. But I learned something in this city, and I have built the strongest connections I have. And wherever I knock to any developers or to any city or to any location, I know someone who knows someone, and I'm gonna make sure your transaction is going smooth, because that kind of market has something that Dubai probably never had or had 20 years ago.
There was a lot of jabs taken at each other. We're going to move on to the next round, which is basically cross-examination. All right? Again, you get 6 minutes each, and you get to ask each other 2 questions each. You can ask. The opponent must answer. You cannot dodge the topic, and you cannot change the topic. Okay? 2 questions each for each other. 6 minutes. 6 minutes to answer, okay?
So you've mentioned about the Disney effect, right? That 50 million people are going to come, right? I have a theory that people from US would still prefer going to Orlando, Disney. People from Europe would still prefer going to Paris. And these are what people have informed me. Like, they would always prefer. Europeans, any which ways, have a bias against the Middle East, and they prefer Paris. And Tokyo, the Chinese would prefer going to Tokyo.
Go to Shanghai.
Yeah, they will go to Shanghai. So this is what I believe. So where do you think the 50 million people are going to come from?
So my numbers actually, they don't even take and go to Disneyland.
The 2 questions. So you're going to ask them together, or you want
it was one question. Where are the people going to come from? The 50 million.
Are you going to ask the 2 questions together, or you want to let her answer first?
Let her answer.
Okay.
It's a very good question. But I don't count the 50 million. I don't count Disneyland in the 50 million. I'm taking Orlando as an example to show the gap of the hotels, because it's a 40 times difference. 2028, Abu Dhabi, without Disneyland and without knowing Disneyland is coming, have registered actually 38 million. 2025, before Disneyland being announced, they have registered 45 million. The difference between 50 to 45 is a 50 million that any other move in that area can do it without Disneyland. Now, I have a very good point, because people stick to the areas. But it's the first time when Disneyland is going on the water. It's the first time when Disneyland is going inside. And it's the first time when Disneyland is going AI. So that gets the curiosity of people also, because it's completely different. It's the first Disneyland in GCC. So I don't have to target the whole world in order to come to see Disneyland. I have to target only my area. And the other ones have proved the same client is a repetitive client. So 90% of the clients, they go up to 10 times to Disneyland. Myself, in a span of 2 years, I've been 3 times to Disneyland, and I don't have kids. I didn't go with my kids. I went with my friends. It's a high. Why? It's a nostalgia. It's a sentiment. It's not only about numbers. You have the best ambassador in the world, someone like Mickey Mouse, and the stats gonna show you that Mickey Mouse is better recognized than Santa Claus or Ronaldo, and he has no Instagram and no media team behind. Why? It's an emotion. And also something very important in us. You don't like Disney? I'm pretty sure you like Harry Potter. Warner Bros is building Harry Potter Corner, and that can attract again a lot of people in the area. And also, this country is not about Yas. It's Yas Abu Dhabi. They're being connected by Etihad train in a span of 30 minutes. The whole area is growing, and that helps both of the cities. But this is it's bringing that tourist of Dubai. He used to come only to Dubai. He's attracting more to Yas Island also. And the government is spending a lot of money into that, because they have spent $40 billion into development of Yas Island. And by 2030, 2035, the target of the Ministry of Tourism in Abu Dhabi is actually to bring $90 billion into numbers.
So 2 questions in 6 minutes?
total 6 minutes for her to answer 2 questions.
Okay, then go first.
I'll ask the next person. See, currently the average rent of a 1-bedroom in Yas Island, I'm talking about the luxury segment, okay? The Yas Golf goes between 105 to 120,000 rooms. And we've already seen a 22.5% increase in the rental value.
You know why?
No. So my question is, do you look at 22.5% increase in rent in 1 year as a red flag?
Yes. And I will tell you why. That's the reason that actually Abu Dhabi is putting a cap on the rents and you are not allowed to increase anymore, and that's coming also in Dubai. For the next 3 years, whatever you have as a rent is staying as a rent. Now, what that happened, it's a hype because that happened actually after Disneyland has been announcing they're going in the area. And whatever big event around the world, it's not about Abu Dhabi, it's about the world. Whatever big event gonna happen, it's a hysteria of I'm missing something. It's a FOMO, I'm missing something. Prices have increased in 80% and the rents have increased with 22%. That's very much right. Because in that moment, Yas is becoming actually a global recognition, international, like entertainment island. And that was the only time when something like this have happened, and the government, because it's very stable, they attack it and they put a cap on the rents.
So if the rent is capped and then the prices keep increasing, then how will investors
But
make
the rent
money?
is capped for whatever is negotiated right now, not whatever gonna come in the future. Your first rent, and that's gonna happen
How
only
much
for
do
the
you
next
think
2
if
years.
somebody's paying like 100,000 dirhams right now, how much can you increase my rent maximum? How much will you
In
take
the
it
next
to?
2 years, you don't increase anything.
Then after that?
Then yeah, you can take exactly the example of JVC, how much you can increase the JVC prices. Do you think people are going to pay 150,000 over there? We don't know what's going to happen with the numbers.
Okay. I'm paying
But
100,000 dirhams in Yas currently in Yas Golf. How much do you think you can increase my rent to maximum?
But I'm not selling something in Yas Golf. If you sell something in Yas Golf, it may be maybe 120. But you have 2 ways to play. You can go with that mechanism and you're going to rent out long term, but you have a very good opportunity to actually should do a short-term rental. And the short-term rental in a hotel, if a hotel is going with 1,500 dirham per night, and that's the average of the area without the big events, then I believe Airbnb can go with 1,000. If a hotel can go up to 35,000 for a big suite, I believe my 2-3 beds can go probably 5,000 a night by the time of those kind of big events. So if you're making actually numbers, the properties over there have proved they can make up to 20%. I know someone in this city who has done for himself with units on Burj Khalifa 70%. If a view of Burj Khalifa can make a 70%, all the events that I have in Yas with the right people, I'm pretty sure gonna make you 12 to 15%.
5,000 is quite a stretch, because with 5,000 dirhams, if I had the option to live in Atlantis and in Yas Island, what will you choose?
It's not about the option. It's not
There are
about
2 questions in.
no.
Oh, okay.
We stick to 2
I
questions.
think 5,000 per night. Hotel, yeah, as a rate, when those events, that's separate. When those events are happening, for example, W is getting 15,000 maximum per night on the normal room and 35,000 for the suite. When the Formula One or
Time's
Jennifer
up.
Lopez is singing, okay? Okay.
Ask the 2 questions.
What's the 2 questions? Would you go in a fresh master plan? As we pitch to the clients, the first phases are the best, or would you go in the last phase? Why did you sell Creek Harbor at the beginning and you stopped to sell Creek Harbor when it went in a hype?
Yeah, because the price per square foot didn't make sense. See, because the price per square foot, I would enter Creek Harbor between 2,000 to 2,500 dirham per square foot, because in the secondary market, so Creek Waters, I was getting a 2-bed at 2.7 to 3 million dirhams, full water view, full creek tower view. Then Emaar came up with this green district where their pitch was, okay, there's a metro and there's a school over there. But they're selling that to me at 3,000 dirham per square foot with no view. Why would I buy that? It doesn't make sense. So I would rather invest. So in a master plan, there are different phases to enter. But for me, I've got I'm very clear. For me, it's the price, the floor plan, the view. So, I've got
Opportunity cost. Now, question
The
number 2.
question was, would you get into a fresh master plan phase 1 or in the last phase?
It would depend on the density of the master plan. Like, see, there are some master plans, like Zaya has 565 units. And there are some master plans, so in Palm Jebel Ali, for example, if I'm entering Palm Jebel Ali, I wouldn't enter at the start because it's a very big master plan. So what I would do is, I know that there are a lot of fools who would invest now. And then by the time, towards the end of the master plan, I will know which building to enter. Because then I will pick and choose, okay, I want this unit, this floor plan, this building. And there'll always be people who didn't plan ahead. You know, there are a lot of people who invest based on hype. They always lose.
Fair enough. Question number 2.
Yes.
If so, why would you go with your clients in an appreciated price when 85% of the plots are being sold in transaction in a master plan that has more than 61 developers selling and bidding right now, where we have a client that has a maximum salary of 15,000 per month, and you know for sure, you don't have to agree with me, but you know that master plan is going in 12 checks. It's not a strong master plan. It's a master plan that started in 1,000 dirham per square foot and is going in 2,000 dirham per square foot right now. Do you think someone who have bought there in 1.4 million can rent it out today and sell it out today with appreciation?
See, it doesn't matter what you think. What matters is numbers. And JVC is known as the strongest community. It's not strong, it's strongest.
Many transactions above in the secondary market, you have above 1.4 million with appreciation.
I just showed you 1.6 million phantom June during the conflict. One bedroom is 1.6 million. June 2026. I have the data. You can I kept it for you.
I get you. I'm saying
No.
this may happen when you have a good agent or some particularities on the market.
No.
How many transactions you had above that? A client right now has a 1.4 million unit in his portfolio. How much can he rent in this year and how fast he can exit and what price?
It depends on which building he's invested in. So I'm not sure what the question is. This is your question? If someone invests in 1.4 million. See, first of all, if someone invested in, I would not invest at 1.4 million. See, in every community, there are good products and bad products. It's a smart consultant is able to identify. I'd enter at 1 million. I will get products at 1 million. I'll get products at 1 million, both off-plan and secondary. So I would enter at 1 million. I will rent at 105,000. I will exit at 1.5 million. That's my strategy with JVC.
As a consultant, I will choose first the neighbor of my client because I want to make sure no one else is going on distress. Second, I will choose who's gonna be his tenant. I want his tenant to have actually a very good salary. And third, I'm gonna make sure the government is behind my tenant to have that kind of salary because that's stability. My experience and the way I'm investing, if I go with the lowest entry point on the market, for sure I'm gonna have one of the biggest compromises at some point.
I think you're a bit confused because, during the conflict, I rented in downtown, like one of the best buildings to an OnlyFans model. So how does that help? In downtown Dubai, one of the best apartments with a full downtown view, full Burj Khalifa view, I rented it out to an OnlyFans model. You cannot judge a community. At the same time, I had a client in...
About income. I don't care who's the identity
No, you
of
told
my...
that you said that you care about the identity of your neighbor. You cannot judge your neighbor. You cannot enter a building imagining,
I said the
1,000 neighbors I need to know.
I said the income. I don't care if he's a government teacher, OnlyFans. I don't care. Income. I'm qualifying the income of my my neighbor.
If you cannot pay your rent in Dubai, there's a travel ban set on. You cannot leave the country until your rent is paid. So no one's going to get into a legal battle any which ways. And it is the strongest segment. Especially middle class. We're not talking about Al-Quds over here. We're talking about JVC. I'm not renting out a labor camp.
Yeah, but we are comparing JVC with Yas Island.
Did you skip on your rent? When you came to Dubai, did you skip on your rent?
No, you know what I did? I had to move because I didn't have money.
Oh, so you moved. You moved. You think that apartment didn't get rented out again?
Because I didn't have a contract. With a contract, I would have stayed there and I wouldn't have paid. And you know where I moved?
You wouldn't have paid?
Because I didn't have money. But that's very common.
Do you have the guts to not pay in Dubai and face the Dubai police?
Time's up.
Okay.
Okay, so the next round is very interesting. That's where all the people sitting in this room get involved.
Questions.
I love this one, okay? So now
Where would you buy?
No. So all of them who are sitting over here, they get to ask you both questions. And they've made notes. Some of them have made notes, okay? You get to ask questions and you have to respond to every single question. You can't dodge it or beat around the bush. You have to answer the question. Wait, so what is the timer for this? 8 minutes, okay? 8 minutes, as many questions as
All of them?
to ask. Yes, totally.
Okay, guys.
For this round.
It was an amazing discussion. Just a quick question. So your entire, discussion regarding the return was Benghazi Phantom.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you can make a return of 10%. So let's make it net around 9%. Is that okay?
I said net. Actually,
Net 10%.
Or 9%.
On what, on base of what data was that? Because now you can get a Benghazi at 1.3, okay? It's being rented average, I've taken average, is around 65,000 net after the service charge and all that. So you're looking at 4.8%. So there is no link between that. Again, if you were to enter at the price it was launched with, that was your other argument. It was 1 million, just 1 million. You add DLD, it's around 1,050,000. Even then, the best rental you can get would be maximum of 5.5%. So that doesn't add up.
So that was the initial. So there's a big, there's a variety of stock in JVC. You can get a 1-bedroom at 550,000 till date, okay, in certain buildings. And there are buildings that sell, as I mentioned, at 1.6. I've seen transactions go at 1.8 million as well. So you cannot take an average. That's ridiculous,
Again, just to touch back on the point, you might still get an apartment for 1 bedroom at 600,000, but the rent is not going to be 65. When you get newer buildings with bigger space, like 700 square feet for 65,000, nobody's going to get something which was, built years back, which you bought at 600,000, where you're going to get a rent of 65,000. So it will be, adjusted accordingly, right?
I want someone to challenge me on data, not stories. I'm tired of stories.
Yeah. So this is based on data?
No, it's on data. I'll show you data. So data based on rental, it's rented at 105,000, Benghazi Phantom. I can show you the DLD. I can show you the DLD based.
See that?
I'll send it across. I have a screenshot. I'll send it across to you. So I have the data where I have a data based on DLD, where a 1-bed is in Benghazi Phantom is rented at 105,000 and a 2-bed is rented at 185,000 in June. So I can show you that data.
But just because one rental agreement, it can't be.
How is it possible? Is it possible? Think of it with common sense, okay? If a 1-bed in a building is rented 105, what do you think? The next neighbors will rent at 60,000.
Because Phantom has got 1,200 square feet 1-bed as well.
Okay.
So that can be the reason where that transaction happened at that price range. But if you look at, you take Benghazi Phantom and you look at the rentals, it's always between 68. You can check right now, 68.
So in every community, okay, what is a successful community according to you? Tell me name of one successful community.
Dubai Hills.
Dubai Hills is a successful community? Okay.
Yeah.
In Dubai Hills, I can give you transactions where a 1-bed was selling at close to 1.8 to 2.2 million and the rental is 100,000. That's an unsuccessful investment, right? So there are always cases where, clearly, that's what I said, 60% of investors make bad decisions based on non-calculated facts.
Sorry, which project did you talk about?
Which one?
Dubai Hills?
There are multiple projects, where 1-beds are selling at between around 2 million. Maybe you can't get. How much is the collector selling at a 1-bed right now? Selling?
You're talking about
1.3?
1.3 for a 1-bed in collective.
Yeah. I have a
1.3?
collective
1.3,
2.2 apartment.
Fine, I'm just saying that's a good investment then, right? That's a good investment. I'm saying that there will be options
That's small.
where say if I'm entering JVC, I will find that right investment where I can buy something around 1 million and I can rent it out on 100,000.
So you're basically saying that his question was that Benghazi Phantom in general, it cannot be taken up as a project where you can earn 10% net ROI. You're saying pick and choose on the unit.
Pick and choose.
Yeah, but your example was solely based on Benghazi Phantom.
The whole debate.
whole debate was wrong.
I have Belgravia, I have Benghazi, and I have DLD. You have none.
Okay. I'm going to... by the time the next question is asked, I'll go to Belgravia.
Please go to DLD. Yes. Sure. Yes.
Yeah, I have a question. This is more on a lighter or pro-investor basis. So for each of you, because you mentioned JVC and Yas Island, Tell me one product today that you can bet on that makes better capital appreciation and rental. Any one product, any one developer, any, let's say, one project for both.
I don't get it. So they're supposed to answer for their own community?
Yeah, obviously for their own communities.
This is for a product in JVC.
In JVC, and she answers for a product in Yas Island.
Nice.
It can be ready, it can be off-plan, it can be anything.
Yeah, positive man. Come on.
Yeah, no. See, in JVC, Iman. See, in JVC.
We're going to fact check these, okay? We are going to fact check these later before the wedding.
See. I'm smart. I'm not an encyclopedia. What I would do is I would do my due diligence.
You're also very defensive.
Huh?
Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, and you're sarcastic. So point is, I would look at two opportunities, okay? One is, I would look for a distressed deal. It's a conflict-driven market, right? I would look for a distressed deal, someone who has sold something with so much of pressure and then he's unable to make the payments towards handover, getting ready in the next 6 to 9 months. I would look at a one-bed. I would choose developers. It could be Iman, it could be Ellington, it could be Zaya, Hamini. There's a Chaima residence, again, beautiful product, phenomenal rentals in these buildings. There's one more also, this guy, Autograph Collection. I forgot, Green something is the name of the developer. Again, phenomenal building, okay? So, and something near the school. So I would look at something around a one-bed around, I'm more of a two-bed guy. I'd try to get a two-bed around that 1.3, 1.4 million mark. I'm sure I'm going to get options.
Okay. Andrew?
Yeah, you go to a community where you believe and you are sure you are getting distressed deals that says something about that community. Unfortunately, in Yas, you don't have that kind of necessarily hype because the client is different, they target families, and there you have one developer. So when the master plan is going as the one developer, they don't necessarily tend to go on distress because they started in the same prices or similar prices. They had the same hub, the same appreciation from a cluster to another, and they tend to have the same quality more or less. Now, for me, it's very hard to tell you what I would choose in Yas because you have only Aldar. But if I choose as a Yas opportunity, because it's not only about Yas, you have inside Yas, you have Yas side Yas, which is actually facing Yas, which it falls in the same strategy. The client can go in the same, it's a matter of 5 minutes. You have a very beautiful project from Shoba. I think Shoba is the best example for what means short-term rental. They have a very small size. 2 beds, I don't pitch 1 bed. That's a family destination. You go with the kids to whatever attractions you want that has to stay in 2 beds. 2 beds over there, it's 2.5 million. Yeah, it's small. It's a bit above 1,000 square feet, but the 2 beds is 2 beds. And I believe in that one, actually, you can have a higher.
Basically, you have nothing to sell in Yas and you're selling in Al Tahiyya.
I'm saying, like, okay? That's one option. The other option is if you actually want to go on the long-term rental, you have to go inside Yas, because inside Yas you have Aldar that's coming with the 2 beds in 1,500 square feet. The price per square feet is slightly different. Of course, Aldar can give a competitive price because they are the master plan. They have paid nothing or very less on that plot. They're coming in 2,500 dirham per square foot. You go in Shoba, you pay 2,500 dirham per square foot. It's a different, but the entry points most of the times makes a lot of sense. Now, the beauty of this area, I can move you insist on 1 bedroom, no problem. Shoba have started in 1.5 million, probably in the next phase gonna be 1.6 million. I move you to Yas, probably gonna be 2 million. But I can tag also clients with good amount of monies where they are going to follow family office. You don't have to get a fund to make money with them. Go with them and then you're gonna make money. You go to Fahid Island, which is the same exit of Yas. You go Yas and then you enter Fahid Island. Why I like Fahid Island? Fahid Island is 60% green, is the most certified island on the earth, and is the only option that you actually can have full views of Disneyland if you actually believe in what Disneyland is saying. But that it's a water beach, it's a beach destination, it's not a water only, and that one is coming with duplexes, super luxury. So in the same strategy, with the same kind of client, I can move from 1.5 to no limit, 2 beds over there, a duplex, it's actually 7 million. 3,500 dirham per square foot can go even 4,000, but I can have different kind of strategy because there are clients who believe in lower entry points because that's their strategy or because they cannot afford anything else, or there are clients who actually don't believe in low entry points because when your neighbor has as much money as you have, it may go behind you.
But the product.
I say, Shoma and Aldar, what are you saying?
No, I just have
Shobha's not
one
Yas.
last question.
Yeah.
But I said yes, I did yes, I said.
Continue,
I cannot choose something in yes, it's only Aldar. What can I choose?
Yeah.
That's why I went outside.
I'll speak to it. So, again, this is investor, let's say, not pro. So, both of you talked about, he talked about JVC, you talked about Yas. Right now, the biggest thing for an investor is whatever products you guys pitch and sell, what kind of accountability do you guys have when it comes to, let's say, resale, right? So, JVC is something, he's transacted in Dubai for 20 years, lives in Dubai, has amazing network. It can be easy for him as an agent, pitch and sell JVC at whatever price, whatever appreciation, whatever rental. But because two things, Abu Dhabi freehold market started 2019, 2 years of COVID, so it's almost been just 4 years into resale. The other thing is, because let's say, for example, this is again investor to broker. Let's say you don't live in Abu Dhabi, right? And there's no resale performance of Abu Dhabi. How confident are you if I invest today in Yas Island with you, you can be able to resell that product after 4 to 5 years?
Actually, Yas Island has healthy transactions. Now, it's true I'm not certified on Abu Dhabi, but it's also true, and whoever has spoke with me in this office or whoever have worked with me in developers, they know I never pitch flipping to opportunities to my clients because I believe properties are made to be to hold them, to grow the portfolio and to refinance them if needed. Now, I do have very good connections that can go in Yas. Now, how I look to this, I can give them something in JVC. I do have actually better options in the same price in Dubai. And it's gonna be very easy for me to go and rent them out, right? I'm trying to give something to my client that has a hype and has an emotional, it has a spike. That spike can actually make my prices to go up. What I feel right now in a master plan as JVC, and we can name also others, the spike, it was in the past. It's nothing on earth that can happen in JVC to double the prices again. The prices have been doubled in the past. Whatever is happening in Yas right now, and the new, like Miral putting so much money, government being behind that. Do you know actually right now in March we're producing 3.4 million barrels a day of oil, and last month we produced 4.1. That means in a month $1.7 billion in the government money. The government is putting money in those areas. I believe in those movements as a financial consultant because I believe my client can take advantage on that. Can go wrong? I don't think it's gonna go wrong on something that has definitely nothing to come. It may stay at the same. I'm sure that in those kind of scenarios, my clients will not lose money. So at least I'm protecting their entry, gonna stay the same. They don't have to go on distress.
Any other questions? The lead question?
No.
No questions?
She's scared. She's scared.
Anyway, let's get into closing statements. This is basically the last word you guys get to have. 2 minutes each. One final argument. You don't give any new numbers. It's just your strongest reason why JVC or Yas wins. Okay? 2 minutes each. You can talk to each other.
Talk to each other?
Yeah, I mean, you can just closing statements towards each other. Or
Just say
hit the
yeah.
camera.
See, I love Dubai. Okay. Dubai has given me everything, In fact, all of us over here. So I hate people and one of the biggest curses of the market are bad consultants or brokers. Yeah. That's why I don't like calling myself a broker. I like calling ourselves a consultant, and now we're getting into a fund and etc. What's the worst statement I've faced like over the last 17 years is that when someone comes and tells me, hey, you know what? Pay 24%, I can flip in 6 months, Because the problem is stories, right? There are so many stories because you can weave a story, right? The difference between a broker and a consultant is storytelling. Because I feel like in this entire debate, there's just been a lot of stories mentioned. I mean, at least I'm the only person who came up with hard facts, you know. So at the end of the day, there is a situation, like you had mentioned, there is a situation called a stuck seller risk, okay? Again, a factor that no one's talked about. There are communities in Abu Dhabi that I don't want to mention them specifically because I don't want to get banned by Abu Dhabi. No doubt it's the strongest capital. So there are areas where people have been unable to sell 1 to 1.5 years. They've been stuck, okay? I don't want to name the communities. Because the numbers, again, don't lie, right? At the end of the day, one community, JVC is one community, has more resale transactions than the whole of Abu Dhabi put together, you know, one community. So just a simple thing. What is your primary requirements of any investment? ROI, ROE, liquidity. I always talk about liquidity. Now you can challenge me whatever you want. I can tell you that, okay, JVC, we sold, didn't we sell?
Yeah.
In how much time did we sell JVC?
The listing came in and filled in 4 days.
In 4 days, we sold a JVC in this market. 4 days. Forget about appreciation. We did not sell at loss. Liquidity. I think the number one factor that any investor should look at is liquidity. We sold in this market in 4 days. Okay. So.
I think every single agent or every single consultant on the market is completely different. And I believe also clients are different. And I believe people have their own set of taking risk. Now, you want to go and stay safe with an investment that could actually work. But the reality behind numbers, it's a safe investment sometimes has not necessarily a big appreciation or not necessarily something above 6 to 7%. We can take a lot of reports. We have exceptional transactions in a higher peaks, but a safe investment in general, wherever you're gonna put money, you're gonna have those kind of moments. Now, there are patterns on history that can make money, and there are patterns on history that don't make money. I learned something when I was trading on the financial market. You go on the stocks or you go on the Forex. And the beginning, I was trying to go against the big guys because I'm gonna make more money. You never made more money if you go behind them. You win only when you go with them. So what I have learned how to read those stock markets in order to go in the same time with them. They call it smart money. You apply the same in real estate. You can apply the same in your businesses. You're gonna make the same kind of impact. Why? Because if you follow wherever the government is putting money, if you follow wherever the strategy is going, and if you follow where people with money gonna go, most of the time, they're gonna be successful. Why? Because trust me, those guys, they know something that we don't know. And why do I have to come with thousands of reports to you when I know for sure other consultants that are bigger than me, because they are still doing that, they have done that for the last 10 years and they consider that it's actually a good deal. For me, bringing my client who has a small capacity of 1 to 3 million and putting him to on the next table with someone who have invested million or billions, for me, that's strategy. It may go wrong. People sometimes lose. But if you keep that as a risk, then you know for sure in order to grow your portfolio, 20 to 30% of your capacity, of your money has to be mandatory into a risk transaction.
Okay, well, what I will say is this, okay? Both of them, I would say Zohaib has 17 years of real estate experience, okay? And what I do appreciate is Andrea standing toe-to-toe with him, number for number. She did.
I appreciate. Good job. I heard it.
Very low blows taken by Zohaib towards Andrea. I will say where the scales tipped in Zohaib's favor was the numbers. But because you stuck to the numbers, the rules were clear. That's the only place where, you know, it's in his favor. So the rules were clear. You were supposed to talk numbers, capital appreciation, exit strategies for the clients. It was supposed to be everything related to what an investor actually faces or experiences. So considering all the rules and the numbers that were supposed to be written, Kamran is panicking because he placed a bet on Andrea. The winner is JVC.
Wait. See, the concept of all this thing again. I really appreciate Andrea and I just point is I want to continue this. So good job, really good job. Okay, I want to continue this whole format because critical thinking is something that can really differentiate us from the rest of the goats out there. You know, so goat is a bad. I can't say goat. Sheep out there. Okay, so next week. Aishwarya, can you tell? I have a debate. Can two people raise their hands who are willing to go for a debate? I won't be there. Okay, I want two other people. I feel like it's unfair to go against me.
You know what? We should have given a disclaimer. A lot of this debate was for entertainment purposes. Can you wrap the video?
Yeah. Yes.
So that's a wrap for JVC and Arjan.